What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy D Free back with another NFL matchups. Free agency is upon us, and it's a lot of stuff going on right now in free. A lot of teams making a lot of moves. Hold on one second. Let me turn this down. Got some stuff playing in the background. Hold up. Turn it down. All right. All right. Yeah, we got a lot of stuff going on right now, man. Uh, there's a lot of teams making some moves. There's a lot of players going to new teams this year. I mean, my Washington Commanders been very busy during the free agency period. I believe we got. I mean, I know we got the most players that we signed to the free agency. I think it's roughly about 12 players that have agreed to sign to Washington Commanders. There's a lot of stuff going on. I gotta commend what's going on BBO, what's going on Thomas, what's going on DP Rocker. I gotta commend the new coaching staff. They made a lot of moves that I was surprised that they was gonna make. And they said they was gonna be very active in the free agency, and that's exactly what they've been doing. They've been very active, which they should have been. We had the most cap space in the NFL, and it was a lot of changes that need to be made. Um, and they look like they mean business. There's a lot of players that I wasn't expected to leave end up leaving. There was a lot of players that came over that I wasn't expecting to come over. Some players took less money to come over. Some players took a shorter deal just to come to play with Washington Commanders. Um, the most surprise signing that we got was Jeremy Chin. I wasn't expecting him to come to the Washington Commanders. I was expecting him to go to another team. Um, but he said he wanted to play with Dan Quinn, and he took less money to come to the Washington Commanders because he was offered um, by a number of teams, and he said he chose to play with Dan Quinn. That's who he wanted to play for, um, and that speaks volume to Dan Quinn as a coach. It speaks volume to the Washington Commanders as a franchise because I think a lot of the players are noticing the change that the Washington Commanders are making. I think they noticing the changes that the Washington Commanders are trying to make. We got a new owner, um, and Harris. He went out and him and Magic Johnson went out and got Dan Quinn. They got Adam Peters as the general manager. Then they picked up Dan Quinn, who a lot of people didn't believe that he was the number one candidate to come to Washington as a head coach. A lot of people thought, and I was one of them, thought we was going to end up getting Ben Johnson, but Ben Johnson decided to stay with the Detroit Lions, and we took Dan Quinn. And I'm not sure if Ben Johnson decided to stay with the Detroit Lions because um, he knew that Washington was going to go another direction, or if that was just his choice. He wanted to stay with the Detroit Lions because this is the second time that he was offered a head coaching job and he decided to stay as the offensive coordinator. And usually, um, that's what offensive coordinators want. That's usually what defensive coordinators want when they take those positions. Their next step is usually to be a head coach, and usually when they offer the job, they take it. But Ben Johnson decided to stay as an offensive coordinator, and so Dan Quinn is our head coach, and he started making moves right from the gate. He went up there and picked up his assistant in Dallas, and got Joe Witten Jr. And then from there we got Cliff Kingsbury as the offensive coordinator, and I was surprised by both those moves. I thought Witten was going to stay in Dallas and become the defensive coordinator there, and I thought Cliff was going to be at the Raiders, and he actually turned down the Raiders and decided to come to Washington, and he said it was because of Magic Johnson the reason why he turned down the Raiders and decided to come to Washington. So Washington looked like the new designated spot, the new destination for coaches and players because a lot of people are turning down other jobs and other teams to come to Washington. So that speaks volume as a franchise. Um, I wanna thank Thomas. I wanna thank G5. I wanna thank Marky Dan. I appreciate the coaches y'all let us get because Mike Izzo is definitely one of the top special team coaches in the game, and Dan Quinn and Joe Witten are definitely two of the top defensive minded coaches. What's going on, King D? And and I think it's gonna shake up the NFC East. I think it's gonna shake up the NFC. Period. We still got a lot of moves to make. I expect us to make some more moves today. It's actually been kind of quiet today. I think a lot of people are dealing with the people that are already committed to signing. So we haven't heard too much. I know we re-signed Jeremy Reeves. Um, a couple of other teams re-signed some players. They signed some new players, but it hasn't been as much noise as it's been Monday and Tuesday. But I mean, it's going to be a different uh, mood swing in Washington for sure. Like I said, we signed the most players in free agency so far. We got 12 players that have committed or already have signed, and we plan on making some big moves. Um, the one thing that I thought about when we got Dan Quinn, I was like, okay, we got Dan Quinn. Is this going to be what we've been seeing in the past? Is it going to be uh, uh, what's that? A high value head coach. A lot of people wanted Dan Quinn as the head coach or wanted him as the defense coordinator. Because he had a couple of other offers as well. Um, but he liked his interview that he had when he came to Washington, and I think a lot of people is going to look at, okay, we got all these new players, um, we about to make some noise, but you can't you can't you can't get overexcited because yeah, you got new players, but you got to look at the chemistry that these players are. They a good fit for you? Yeah, it might be a high value player, or it might be a top level player, but do they fit the system that they're coming to? Like Baltimore signed Derrick Henry. I think Derrick Henry fits Baltimore very well because you got a power runner, and then you got Lamar Jackson back there. They're not gonna. I mean, you can't game scheme for one and not worry about the other. You got to worry about both of them. So that was a good pickup for Baltimore getting Derrick Henry. And it was talk about Derrick Henry going to Baltimore last year. They tried to trade for him, but Tennessee didn't want to make the trade. So Derrick Henry ended up leaving as a free agent. Um, I take that back. I don't know if Tennessee didn't want to make the trade. I don't know if Baltimore wanted to give up as much as Tennessee wanted for Derrick Henry. So I think Baltimore decided to roll the dice and say we get Derrick Henry in the free agency, and that's what they did. They got him in free agency. Um, but I see that Saquon Barkley had committed to go to Philadelphia. I'm not sure if that's a good fit. I mean, Saquon Barkley, make no mistake about it, he is one of the top running backs in the game, but the it wasn't a problem with Swift last year. The problem that Philly had with Swift is they stopped running the ball, and Saquon Barkley is one of those running backs that you got to keep feeding him the ball. He gets better with as when he get more carries. You can't give him the ball 10, 15 times in game and think he's gonna have a dynamic game. You got to feed that man the ball roughly about 20 to 25 times a game, because he gets better as the game go on. As he get into his groove, he gets better. Now they got to also think about he is coming off of injuries. He as of late he's been injury prone. Now he played most of the season last year, but it was a couple of times that he had to sit down due to nagging injuries. It wasn't nothing serious, but I mean, once you start getting injured as a running back and they start running you more, those injuries going to resurface. What's going on, Quick? Those injuries going to resurface. So we got to see how he fits with Philly. I see that Dallas let Tony Pollard go and he signed to Tennessee. I think it's not a bad pickup for Tennessee. I don't think that they're going to stop with Tony Pollard because we saw with Tony Pollard last year when he didn't have Zeke there, he wasn't as dynamic as he was when Zeke was there because they had that change of pace type of back. Like Zeke will pound it, and then all of a sudden Tony Pollard coming there with the speed and the agility, and he was a change of pace. That's why we saw Tony Pollard break off for a lot of big runs when Zeke was there because they were so used to Zeke pounding the ball. Then when they put Tony Pollard in there, that was a change of pace. Um, but Tony Pollard, he had a decent season. I think he still went over 1,000 yards, if I'm not mistaken. I think he still went over 1,000 yards. But he wasn't as dynamic as he was when Zeke was there. So we're gonna see what how Tennessee looks with Tony Pollard. I know they let Ryan Tannehill go. So they searching for a quarterback. I'm not sure if he said, "I'm not mad." He left at all. I mean, yeah, like I said, he's not a bad running back. It's just he's not the number one guy. He's more of a number two guy. He's like a third down back. I can't see him. I can't see him being a number one back. He said, "Y'all can get turnstile for free 90 for the free 99." Nah, no. We don't want turns. We don't want turns. I told you, if they not over a 70 grade, we ain't trying to get them. We good. I mean, we will. I think they're gonna. I think they're gonna look to try to get Tyron Smith only because we need a left tackle and he's a veteran. Yeah, I know he's 34 years old, but he still got. He should say he's at 70. I think he I think he still got some good games left in him. I think he probably got about a good two, maybe three more good years left in him. Um, we we don't want him at all. I think Tyron Smith still got about 2 or 3 good years left in him, so it it's gonna be good. Smith, y'all left tackle. I think he's gonna be a good fit for Washington because, like I said, we looking for a left tackle. Um, I I mean I think they're gonna pick him up and use him as the starting left tackle. He said still no games left in him with us. I mean he might not be no games left in there with y'all, but we don't want him. We good. I mean he can go to the Eagles or the Giants. We good. We good with him. But yeah, I think Smith would be a good fit. Like I said, I think we're gonna still pick up some offensive linemen in the draft. I think we're gonna it looks like we're gonna be taking LSU quarterback in the first round. Um Sam Howell has been offered a trade. I think that the lowest I seen was a fourth round. Um if Washington picks up Marvin Harris Jr., Sam Howell is going to be our quarterback next year. If they go get Jalen, then Sam Howell most likely will be getting traded during the draft. I think they're going to wait to figure out what they're going to do come draft. I don't think they're going to trade Sam Howell yet. I think they're going to wait to the draft. He said Dan can't even give his raggedy ass away. Yeah, I mean, like I said, you can give them to the Giants, you can give them to the Eagles. We good. We don't need no mediocre linemen. We need good linemen. We didn't dealt with enough mediocre linemen. We trying to do better. We ain't trying to stay the same. I mean, hey, if y'all can't get rid of them, it look like y'all gonna be holding on to them for another year, unless y'all trade them sometime before the deadline. But yeah, it's like I said, it's a lot of big moves that's been made. Um, I see that Atlanta gave Kirk Cousins $100 million guaranteed contract, and although Kirk Cousins is a better quarterback than what they had, I said this to somebody yesterday. I think it was yesterday or maybe the day before. If it was G5 I was talking to, if you look at Kirk Cousins in the last 6 years of the money that hit his bank account, Kirk Cousins might be the second highest paid quarterback in the league. Because when he was with Washington, those last 3 years he was with Washington, he was on a franchise deal. And I think the first one was like 24 million. Then he got like 28 million. I think the last one was 34 million. And then he went over to Minnesota and got that big contract, and now he's in Atlanta with $100 million guaranteed contract. I mean, Kirk Cousins, like I said, he's not a bad quarterback. But that man is. I mean, whoever his agent is, his agent is a hell of an agent. He need to be the agent of the year because that man is making sure Kirk Cousins get paid and make sure Kirk Cousins has a job. I mean, he's a hell of an agent. Um, but yeah, he signed in Atlanta for $100 million contract, and that 100 million is guaranteed. I'm not sure if his whole contract is 100 million, but I know his guaranteed is 100 million. So I'm not sure what the actual contract is, but I know he got 100 million guaranteed. Um, but I mean, that's a good fit for Atlanta. Um, you could say he might be a, a young version of Matt Ryan because him and Matt Ryan, they not scared to throw the ball. They will make mistakes at the wrong time, but they're not scared to throw the ball. They're gonna throw the ball. Um, Justin Jefferson, he's upset. He turned down $30 million contract with the Vikings. But the Vikings are not trying to trade him away. So oh well, he turned down a $30 million extension, I should say. But the Vikings are not trying to trade him away. So I don't know what's going to go there. I don't even know who's their quarterback. I don't think they got a quarterback. I think they might be looking in the draft to pick up a quarterback, or I'm not sure exactly what they're doing as far as quarterback. But I don't know if you get rid of Kirk Cousins and you look in the draft to find somebody else to fill Kirk Cousins' spot. That's a bad move. But I mean, nevertheless, the one thing that I've seen, the two teams that's been very quiet, and and I know Quiqui is in the chat, but Dallas and the Giants have been very quiet. Now the Giants, they made a couple moves, but it wasn't no moves to get excited about. The Dallas Cowboys haven't made no moves. Like I think they just re-signed players. I don't think they picked up any free agents, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if they picked up any free agents. I haven't seen any for for Dallas. Um, but I mean, which is expected because they um they didn't have a lot of cap space. They up until all of the teams was given this extra $30 million. I think it was like 32 or 33 extra $1 million. I think because of the whole pandemic. So this year, every team got an extra. I think it was like 32 or 33 million for the cap space. Up until that point, they was they was in the red. They was over the cap space. So it was going to be a lot of players that they were going to either restructure their deal or they was gonna have to let go because they was in the red. Yeah, yeah, y'all let Tony Pollard go and y'all let Mike Gallup go. And like I said, y'all haven't signed nobody. So I think y'all gonna try to save y'all money for the free agency, or I mean, I'm sorry, for the draft, or y'all gonna try to wait until the last minute to see who's left out there and pick them up because, or see if anybody get released after the draft, because that's something that we did a couple of years ago. Like we didn't really make no big splash in free agency, um, but soon as a big name got released, we went out there and picked them up because everybody else was already stocked up. Um, he said Michael Gallup let you down the past season. Um, I would say, yeah, he did, but actually, if you think about it, he was supposed to be the number two. And the other dude, what's his name? I can't think of his name. Um, the guy that y'all picked up, he was supposed to be the number three, but it was like they was going to him more than they was going to Michael Gallup. So Gallup got pushed down to the number three. Like a lot of times, you didn't even see Michael Gallup in the game. She said, Teron Diggs is back. So I'm glad. Yeah, but you got to see how he looks coming off of that. What's going on, Skywalker? You got to see how he looks coming off that injury because a lot of times it takes a player a while before they get back to their full form. So we got to see how he look coming back from that injury. Is he still going to be explosive? Um, going after the ball? Is he still going to be able to keep up with those receivers? So they say Cena, he's good. I mean, yeah, I mean you can see him running around and he looks good. It's a different thing when he in the game. I'm not saying that he's not. I'm not saying that he's not. I just got to see how he look in the game because practice and just doing drills is one thing. But when you're in the real game, that's a whole different story. Um, so yeah, I gotta see how he look. And like I say, I hope he is back because he's a hell of a defender. Um, he definitely should be. She said I'm biased. He definitely should be accounted for when he's on the field if he's at 100%. You got to know where he's at because he will play the ball. He ain't looking to make no big hits. He looking to get that ball and take it back the other way, or at least give his team another chance to score. Um, and I like that as a corner because that's the way I played. I can deliver hits too, but my main focus was getting that ball. I always wanted to either get that interception or knock that ball down. I wasn't really big on getting hits. I can hit you if I have to, but I wasn't real big on getting hits. I was big on deflecting the ball or intercepting the ball. That was my main focus when I was on the field, and that's why I never really got a lot of injuries. I think the most injury I had like a bruised tailbone, but I never missed no games because I wasn't real big on getting hits. I will tackle you, but I'm not big on just giving my body up for a play. I'm not doing all that because I wasn't getting paid at the time. I was in high school. I was in college. I wasn't getting paid, so I'm not giving my body up. When I got to the semi pros, I gave my body up a few times, but I mean, like I said, I was big on intercepting the ball or deflecting the ball. I'm not trying to let that receiver get the ball. So if the receiver got the ball, I felt like I didn't do my job because my job is to make sure that receiver don't get the ball. My second job is to stop him once he get the ball. So I was big on my first job. Um, but yeah. So I mean, it's gonna be a lot of stuff still to come out today. I think in about another hour or so, um, the internet going to blow up again. About another hour or so, the internet going to blow up again because all of these signings are going to start going through, and you're going to start seeing some more signings being made. Because, like I said, yes, Monday and Tuesday was the tampering, free agency tampering, and basically they can talk to the free agents, and the free agents can agree to sign with the team, but they wasn't allowed to sign them. today is the first day that they can actually sign all those guys that had agreed to sign. So now everybody get to put the pen to the paper and join the new teams, and then they can go out and look at some more teams. I mean, look at some more players. So but that's all I got for the video. I just want to come up here and talk a little bit of free agency fantasy. I mean, a free agency for the NFL, and talk about some of the moves my team made. Like I said, we picked up 12 free agents. Um, Chris, we got Biatis, we got Dante Fowler, we got Armstrong, we got Austin Eckler. Of course, we signed Zach Ertz. That was the first signing. We picked up Marcus Mariota. Um, we picked up uh, Frankie, the middle linebacker from the Panthers. Frankie, I cannot pronounce his last name is Lovey. And we picked up Jeremy Chin. Um, we got the kicker Damasus from Denver. We picked up who else we picked up? Uh, we picked up a couple of offensive linemen. We picked, like I said, we got the center from Dallas, Biatis. Um, and it's a couple of other players that I'm forgetting right now, but it's going to be a lot more to come out. And I once everything is finalized, I do another video probably either tomorrow or this weekend once everything is pretty much finalized, and I'll give y'all more of the update, and we'll talk more in depth as far as the teams. I will have the breakdown of each team and their grades of who they signed and what I believe their grade is for the signings that they got. We're gonna go through all of the teams, all of the notable teams. I mean, and talk about. Actually, I'm gonna go through all the teams and talk about who they signed and what's their grade. And I'll probably do that Saturday. I'll probably do that Saturday. But I will be doing a cooking video. I'm actually about to get ready, go in the kitchen and set up for my cooking video. So tune in for my cooking channel, Cooking with D Free, and I got a nice treat for y'all. It's baked pizza spaghetti. It's not what you think it is. It's baked spaghetti, but it has a little twist on it. So just be on the lookout for it. Like I said, I'm about to grade go in the kitchen and start that up. And I will be back with y'all. I appreciate y'all coming through. It's your boy D Free, NFL matchups. Peace.